People are posting their paychecks online. They're going to TikTok and Facebook and social media in general and posting them. They're like, how are we supposed to live with this money? Let's get into it.
I was listening to this lady yesterday. She said she lives in New York currently. She makes 300,000 plus a year, and she's dead broke. Think about that. She makes $300,000 a year, and she's still living paycheck to paycheck. I always said this from a mindset of people when they say that, or if I just made a little bit extra money, then I can get out this situation. My situation will be better. I won't live paycheck to paycheck. That is the wrong thinking, because the more money that most people make, the majority of the times, you're going to spend that extra money and you're still going to be living paycheck to paycheck. People make more money. They don't save more money. People spend more money because they make more money. And I listen to the interview. People say, oh, New York is expensive. You don't know how expensive it is. I used to date somebody who used to survive off of $80,000 a year in New York, had her own apartment, and was able to do just fine in New York. I'm pretty sure if you gave her extra $220,000 a year, she'd be perfectly fine in the same space that she's in right now. Most people just don't want to admit it. They have a spending problem. People want to make more money just so they can buy more shit. So the thing is, you're not broke because you're living paycheck to paycheck. It's because the bills that you have, because of the fact that you're making more money, is the reason that you're living paycheck to paycheck. And at the end of the day, it is your money. You can do whatever the hell you want to do with it. You can go ahead and cry wolf that you broke all the time, you living paycheck to paycheck. But how does that logically make sense? That you're making $300,000 a year and you're living paycheck to paycheck. I know I keep saying it, but that makes absolutely no sense in the world. I don't care if you lived in Los Angeles. I'm pretty sure that you can survive a couple times over a year with $300,000 a year, and you up here blowing it away like it ain't nothing. And before y'all ask, she ain't had no kids. She wasn't married. So before y'all even throw that shit out there, that wasn't even. And even if you do have kids and you was married, $300,000 is a lot. I'm gonna say that again. $300,000 is a lot to survive off of. Every year you made $300,000 for the past 5 years. That's one $300,000. That's two $300,000. That's three $300,000. That's four $300,000. That's five $300,000. That means in 5 years you made $1.5 million. I'm gonna say that again. In 5 years, you made $300 every year, and in 5 years, you made $1.5 million. And you mean to tell me that you don't have anything to show for it? It's crazy as hell, but that's the world we live in today.
See, that's ridiculous. She did everything right and it's still not enough.
I have made over $8,700 in take-home pay for the month of July, and I still had to dip into savings. This is part 2, explaining why I had to do that. So watch the first part, but I've already explained that my monthly bills cost over $8,000, but there's also some other things that are going on that have meant that we have had more bills this month. Some of it was planned and some of it was kind of unintentional and just kind of sucks. The first thing is I have taken a couple of trips. Here is my work schedule. All of the blue are shifts that I have worked. I work 12-hour shifts as a nurse, and I went on a trip right at the end of July. So like this week right here, this was a family vacation. It was 5 different households, including my in-laws, which I consider my second mother and father. And this might be the last trip that they are able to go on. We've been doing this for over 10 years. We try to do it really affordable. But it still costs something, but they are just aging. They are late 70s and this might just be their last trip. So that was just something really special, and that was just a non-negotiable that I was going to spend. This weekend I went out of town and went camping. That trip only cost like $30 for the campsite, but then this weekend, this was a soccer tournament. So yes, I fully own that this right here was probably a reason why I had to transfer savings. But there's also another thing that I've got going on that cost us a lot of money. So my previously unemployed stay-at-home husband has actually gotten a temporary side job for the past couple weeks. He was hired to do some construction work for a family friend, and that is what he has been doing every single day throughout the week. Problem is, I'm not only working full-time, I'm also working overtime, and that means that there's no one here during the day to watch the kids, which means I am staying up in the middle of the day, which is sometimes doable if I am not going to be working that night. But if you look at my schedule, I have been working a lot throughout the week, and I can't just not sleep in between these shifts. That's just not safe. It's another thing if I'm like trying to stay awake for 24 to 30 hours because I'm switching to a day schedule, but it's not safe to not sleep in between here. So we have had to pay for childcare. So we have had to pay for them to go to a summer camp. Again, this was kind of last minute, so our options were very, very limited, and this is a higher cost of living area, and summer camps are just so freaking expensive. So we've had to spend $1,000 here for them to go to summer camps. We actually got a couple weeks coverage. So $1,000 for my husband to go make $1,000. It's kind of a wash, but yeah, it kind of sucks. But we tried to make it work without having them go somewhere, but it was just, yeah, it was not a safe situation. Not only that, but like, you should see our house. Normally my stay-at-home husband does all the cooking, does all the cleaning, does all the laundry. He's not been able to do that. So our house is an absolute disaster. Nobody has any clothes. The dishes are just completely piled up. And like, I can't really manage that stuff because I am gone for 13 hours every single day. And then when I do come home, I just got the crazy idea to start this TikTok thing. So that takes up at least 3 hours a day. So I'm really working like 15 hours a day. So I'm pretty useless at home as far as dishes, dinner, laundry, all that stuff goes. So hopefully in a couple weeks, once the kids start back up in school, my husband can continue to do these kind of gig jobs, and then we're not shelling out thousands of dollars for him to work. That's our plan.
Wow. That's crazy.
Anyone else worried about their bills right now? Like, for me personally, my take-home paychecks are less than how much I have to spend on bills per pay period. Like, I don't know what's happened in the last several months. Like, last year, I was in a position where I had enough money in my account to pay for my bills. Now, I'm worried that my account is going to overdraft because the amount I get paid is less than how much my bills cost for that pay period. And honestly, it's a scary feeling, like, to be in a position where you don't have enough money to pay your bills and you have to tap into your savings, or you have to do a cash advancement or something like that. Like, that's really scary. And I fear that it's only going to get worse. Like, I might be in a position where I clear out my savings because I don't have enough money to pay my bills. Anyone else feel that way, or is it just me?
You see, that's the part people don't talk about. The check look good, but what about them bills?
I'm gonna be so vulnerable, guys. I got my paycheck today. Wasn't enough to cover my rent. Wasn't enough to cover my beautiful penthouse. And that is my fault. I work in the service industry, and like, when you take off work, you don't get PTO or anything like that. You just take the L. And I took off a Saturday night, which roughly sometimes I make $500-$600. So my paycheck has seen better days. But something I like about the serving industry is I picked up a shift this morning, so now I'm a double today. And I'm just hoping some lovely, lovely customers will give me cash so I can then deposit it into my bank account so then I can pay rent. Really, nothing is funny.
What?
This is bullshit.
One paycheck is no longer enough, y'all. And that is the part that a lot of people are not ready to accept yet. But when you think about it, even if you don't have a lot of debt, and even if you have yourself a good old job, right? When it comes to the taxes and the benefits and the bills and just everyday life, there's not much more left. That right there is why there are so many people frustrated, because it feels like all you're doing is working to maintain, not to go out here and enjoy your life, but to maintain. And we don't want to hear this, but relying on one stream of income in this here economy, that's dangerous, y'all. And that is why there are so many people now adding income and learning how money works, because that is how you learn the game. So if you are ready to take control over your life, DM me the word more. Let's talk about it.
Yeah, for real. You got to either work 2 jobs or you got to have a spouse, a homeboy, a roommate, something.
Have you ever noticed how your paycheck looks decent on paper, but somehow feels smaller every month? You make the money, but it never seems to stay. And no one ever explains why that keeps happening. Most families don't have an income problem. They have a leakage problem. Money comes in, then quietly leaks out through interest, financing fees, and outside lenders. Car payments, credit cards, loans. Every dollar that leaves the household strengthens someone else's system other than yours. Over time, it creates constant pressure. You work harder, you earn more, but it still feels tight. Not because you're irresponsible, but because your money has no place to grow, gather, and cycle back to you. Families with internal systems don't just earn money. They keep it working. Their dollars slow down. They stay accessible. They come back instead of disappearing. If your paycheck feels like it shrinks the moment it hits your account, it's time to look at flow, not effort. Email banking info, and I'll explain how families stop the leaks and keep money circulating where it belongs.
You've seen nurses living that lavish lifestyle. Let me show you what the paycheck really looks like. This was me a year ago, new grad at a community hospital. I worked a total of 69 hours. Let's see what it comes out to. Total 69.81 hours. Then we're going to see $3,461.51. And guess what I took home? Only $2,500. This is bi-weekly, guys. The glamorous lifestyle is debunked. Now, obviously, this was about 3 hours short of a full paycheck. I started off at $48 an hour. Coming out of school, I was expecting like $60 an hour, right? Unfortunately, that wasn't the case. Reflecting on that paycheck, you need to pick up more hours to be able to sustain a lifestyle that is above minimum wage in California. If you're a new grad nurse, comment down below, what is your hourly rate? I'm curious. And I'm sure other new grads and other students are curious. Drop it down below, share, don't gatekeep. Peace.
And he went to college for that. See, that's crazy. He needs to make more. It's just not enough.
Oh, this one might piss people off. Listen, when I hear someone say they don't pay me enough to fill in the blank, that's not a company issue. Guess what? That's a you issue. See, what you're really saying is I'm capable of more. I just choose not to do it because I don't get paid enough. And that's a values issue. You see, you don't get paid and then perform. You perform, then you get paid. And people that do that never wonder why I get promoted, why I get made more offers than everybody else. They just do it. There's a difference between someone saying I can't versus I won't.
I've talked about it before. I worked at Walmart for years. I worked at the customer service desk. And if you don't know, you have money services. So you transfer money, you can send money to someone in another state, another country. You can cash people's checks. There was this one kid. Oh, shit. He was cool as shit. Mad cool. I remember he was like, yo, can you cash my check? I used to cash his check every week. His ID was expired. If you didn't know, if you have expired ID, we can't cash your check. But at the time, the system was old. So I knew a way to get around it. I was like, yeah, I'll cash your check. Don't even worry about it, bro. He's like, yo, the ID's expired. I said, bro, if I'm here, I'll cash in your check. I don't care. He was like, yo, I fuck with you. You're mad cool. He ends up working at Papa John's. You know exactly where this is going. I pulled up one day. My food was like $30, $40, whatever. I ordered mad food. He saw me. He said, yo, you the dude that work at Walmart, right? Cash my check. I said, yeah. He looked around. Once he looked around, I knew it was free. He looked around. I pulled out my card. He said, bro, don't even worry about it. He said, I got you. I was fucking gassed. Ever since that moment, I knew. I said, hey, be nice to everyone. Take care of everyone. Because, yo, you never know that shit's going to come back all the way. I had no idea. I was so
crazy. Listen to this guy break down why you need to look at your check and why your paycheck is smaller than you think.
Jobs tax immediately. So if your check supposed to be, when you do the math in your calculator, like, yo, I make this much per hour, so these amount of hours should equal up to this, you're never getting that amount. They're always going to take out 20 to 30%. They taking it out before you even see it. They take it out so fast that you think you make the amount they're giving you, but you really make more than that. Some niggas don't even know what's taken from them. They just get their check and think, oh, this is what I earned. Something off about the number, but I don't know. No, you should question why, if you make $20 an hour and you do the math and you say, yo, I work 40 hours a week, why it ain't the number you put in your fucking calculator? You see what I'm saying? So if you make $20 an hour, you work 8 hours a day for 14 days, That's 2,240. Your check should say 2,240, but it's not. So I'm gonna take 20% out of this. 20% of that is $448. You let a nigga take $448 out your check, and you don't even know. Who know the difference between gross pay and net pay? Gross is everything before niggas get they splits. If we got a big ass pie, a big ass cake, right? Uncle Sam cut him out a nice little slice and he take it out and then he give it to you. But before he take it out, that's your gross. That's the whole cake. So on paper, it's, oh, Rod makes $2,240 a month. But after you get to the net pay, that's the pay you really get. So don't look at your gross and think that's what you got. No, you got your net. All right?
We haven't even talked about your job yet.
Should be able to.
Median household for your metro, 70,000.
Yeah.
You make 94. You! Not even him included. What do you do for a living?
I work in public safety.
Public safety usually pays well these days. What do you make?
So I make a shade over $50 an hour.
Guys, what the are we doing? What does that translate to?
Around 107 annually.
You make $200,000 a year in an area where the median household income is 70. And you're telling me you can't get groceries? You shouldn't even be freaking out on about a $500 purchase. How have you guys f***ed this up so bad? And then you guys don't even have the same conclusion in the end about what it looks like today or how it's gotten there.
Why is an hour of my dedicated hard work
Not even enough to buy a pound of fucking ground beef? You're telling me
I work an hour and I can't even buy anything? $13.75 is the minimum wage here, okay? An hour, I make $13.75. So if I only work 1 hour, 1 hour of my whole entire time is just $13.75?
what the fuck? I can barely buy a bag of candy.
Don't even get me started on taxes, because tell me why. You can get a gross earning of $1,000 and just get paid
$700. Are you fucking kidding me?
60 hours a week and I can't even get
$1,000? That's fucking crazy. What the fuck?
And technically, we need fast food workers. We need retail workers. We need people at the stores, or there wouldn't be stores for people to go to. So why do they get paid so much less? I know it's there, you don't have to have a degree to get it, but they still need it to operate this world functionally. If there was no workers for fast food or retail stores, there wouldn't be any, obviously. So why do we get paid so much less? Basically, grabbing every strand of fucking hair to survive. So you have to go to school for 10 years to be stable? To be like higher up class, but I can't be higher up class by working a normal job and not
busting my fucking ass off in school, trying to be perfect. What the fuck?
I get not getting paid as much, but only $13.75, and even like veterinarians is only like what 20 something an hour. That's crazy. You're fucking having to put down animals, taking care of animals, and you only get $20 an hour.
What the fuck? And teachers?
Teaching these fuck-ass little kids getting paid this much? This world is going to fucking shit, and we keep getting paid less. Yes, the money's going up, but the worth of the money's going fucking down. And fast. I just think that an hour worth of my time should be able to buy something worth $20.
Because what the actual fuck?
I can't buy shit. I'm poor. Everybody's fucking poor.
If you're telling people to live within their means, you need to realize that that only applies to a small portion of the population. If you're making about $30,000 to $40,000 a year, if even that, and you're living paycheck to paycheck, that is because your paycheck is only paying for the basic necessities of life and just barely. There's no room for savings. There's no room for going out, no room to enjoy your life. You're barely getting by. But if you're making $100,000, $200,000 a year and you're still living paycheck to paycheck, then yes, maybe you're living outside of your means. Maybe you should stop going out so much. Maybe you should downsize and stuff like that. But if you're living a modest life, like you have an apartment, you have a basic car, you have maybe a house, a modest house, and you're still barely getting by on your paycheck, on your salary, then your employer should be paying you more. They are not paying you enough, and they know it.
Comments. Time to read the comments. I like to read. Was making $40K at 18 at a hardware store 20 years ago. It wasn't enough, so I got a different job and chose to go in a different direction. Today in 2026, there are some of the same people working there. Life is full of choices. Whew, that was deep. Yeah, yeah, you do have to make a decision that I'm not gonna go for this no more. That is very true. R. Kimmy. Goodness gracious. Anyone making under 60K is being wildly underpaid. Yeah, and that's relative to where y'all live. You can't be living somewhere in New York talking about I'm making 60K. I'm alright. No, that is poverty. California is probably the same thing. You need to be making in New York and California. You probably be making 200K. I'm not gonna lie, especially in San Francisco or something. Living within your means applies to everyone. That's true. You just gonna have to you might have to live in the gutter. You gonna have to live in the trenches. If you making like 40, you live in the trenches or live with a roommate. You know, you're gonna have to make some sacrifices. You know, it is. That's true. If you feel like you're not being paid enough and prove your value, that's facts. Your employer has no responsibility to pay you 100K for a job that's worth 30K. It's up to you to make yourself more value. Woody. Very true. Very, 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 very true. My wife is sleeping in the bed. That's why I'm whispering. Because usually I'm turned up. I'm not going to lie. I'm in this thing going crazy. I'm reading comments like a beast. But that's facts. You have to get your value up. That's one thing that's it's kind of sad. I'm not going to say not sad. I'm sorry. That's one thing that's true. If your company looks at you like anybody can pick up a box and open it and put it over there, they're going to pay you. Anybody can pick up a box and put it over their money. You have to be value, which is going to take some sacrifice, which is going to take some you going to college and sleepless nights, all types of stuff, man. All types of stuff. You already know. Let's scroll down a little bit. I make what he said, 30K to 40K, and I'm not living paycheck to paycheck because I budget and I live good. My total monthly expenses come out to that's really good. $1,600 per month. I live in a 2-bed, 1-bath home. Put 10% of my check in savings, and I just bought a new car last month. Whoa, it's possible. But he said, where do you live? Because in most places, rent alone is $1,600. He must be living with somebody, probably. I don't know. Let's see. I live in the Midwest, and actually, my rent is $600 a month. Comes. Whoa, that is where are you? That is crazy. He must be in the trenches. Clearly not where I live. 800 will maybe get you a studio, and you still have to pay utilities. Could oh my goodness. Well, let's hope he's telling the truth. I mean, he probably is. I don't know. That just kind of sounds a little bit too good to be true. Or you living somewhere where you got to look over your shoulder. I ain't got time for that. Yeah, man. If you guys know anybody live check to check and their check is not working, let me know. Drop them in the comments. I'm gonna start featuring y'all. All right, next time I'm out.